No time, green wig, big risk, I'm calm when the chat goes frantic. Fear high, greed low, I just read what the charts wanna show. New coin, old game, same rules when you're playing with flame. Welcome to the show, it's even now though. Every single level on the chart gets exposed. Crypto on my mind while the market's reload. Read it in the lines, yeah the charts don't lie. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Trading through the noise while the candles explode. If you wanna know where the next wave goes, watch it in real time, yeah the charts don't lie. Yeah. Break out, fake out, I wait for the close, not a shout. Plan set, no guess, I'm stacking my wins, cut the stress. New high, pull back, I'm ready when price attacks. Fast moves, clear rules, we learn why the crowd chases move. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Every single level on the chart gets exposed. Crypto on my mind while the markets reload. Read it in the lines, yeah the charts don't lie. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Trading through the noise while the candles explode. If you wanna know where the next wave goes, watch it in real time, yeah the charts don't lie. Lock in, hit play, we're live, we're live. Don't look away. Evan Auto, yeah, the charts don't lie. Now you know. Live on your screen. Let's go. Hey, candles up, candles down. Yeah, we're breaking it down right now. Zoom in, trend line, red day, can flip in no time. Green wig, big risk, I'm calm when the chat goes frantic. Fear high, greed low, I just read what the charts wanna show. New coin, old game, same rules when you're playing with flame. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Every single level on the chart gets exposed. Crypto on my mind while the markets reload. Read it in the lines, yeah the charts don't lie. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Trading through the noise while the candles explode. If you wanna know where the next wave goes, watch it in real time, yeah the charts don't lie. Charts don't lie. Break out, fake out, I wait for the closing, not a shout. Plan set, no guess, I'm stacking my wins in. Cut the stress, new high, pull back, I'm ready when price attacks. Fast moves, clear rules, we learn why the crowd chases moon. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Every single level on the chart gets exposed. Crypto on my mind while the markets reload. Read it in the lines, yeah the charts don't lie. Welcome to the show, it's 7 now though. Trading through the noise while the candles explode. If you wanna know where the next wave goes, watch it in real time, yeah the charts don't lie. Yeah. Yeah. Charts don't lie. Lock in, hit play, we're live, we're live. Don't look away, right in now though. Yeah. Charts don't lie. Oh, 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 oh. Now you know.
All right, what is up, guys? I am here. I hope you guys are doing really well today. Hope your trading and everything's going wow. What's up, ETH? Planet E. It's cold, yeah. I mean, you guys are having one of the worst winters in probably a decade. It's been a long time. I remember there's some bad winters around like 2010, that area. You know, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. So yeah, I mean, let's cut to the chase a little bit. I hope you guys like the new intro song. So yeah, a little bit of nice AI creation there. I didn't realize how easy it was to create something that sounds really cool really quickly with some of those AI tools. So yeah, I mean, you're coming up, 71K. Maybe you're getting this little linear spiral line pocket right here. I mean, still at 102 for the daily 200. I don't think you're going to hit that anytime soon, obviously. But yeah, what's up, guys? What's up? Not Banks. Oh, NBS, yeah. Appreciate you. So, this potential rejection here, same thing for ETH, potential rejection. I mean, it does kind of, given that we came down so far, like, I kind of feel like you're not going to, like, I feel like next week is still going to be green. Like, you may bounce around over this weekend, some volatility. And then after that, I think that the following probably will be green. I guess it could, the more I analyze this, I guess the more slightly more bearish I get. I added to this short, but I mean, I don't know if I would have entered like a fresh short right now on Ethereum. But I do think there's potential to, kind of drop back down a bit, maybe wipe out the longs here. It depends. If you look at funding fees, everybody's longing again. So, I mean, there could be more volatility, more liquidity grabs, So yeah, I mean, yeah, the trading game, a lot of good, swing shorts. I mean, it's been pretty easy. Like if you're a trader, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of people, super cycle people or whatnot on Twitter that, have been, they're not really traders, it's a different type of situation. And, yeah, but if you're from a trading perspective, like Market Cipher, whatever techniques you have, I mean, I think there were a lot of, obvious things that showed you the odds were very high of us coming down. Now, trading was very easy on the way down. I don't know if it'll stay this easy. You go through ups and downs with that, but I'm confident that, we'll still be able to do pretty well, potentially add to that, these type of areas. I mean, the thing too is like, you jumped up probably what, 10% already? Let's see. I mean, this is, 17, insane. Yeah. 17%. I mean, should you buy at 70K and try to get to 80K or whatever? Maybe. I mean, you probably will get a few weeks or something. I mean, counter trend rallies or bear market rallies usually last 2 to 4 weeks. I think that's what it was. I think that's the thing. 70K, I think in the grand scheme of things, like the first thing I'll say here, there's a lot to talk about, obviously, but I think we're kind of right here. Let me just show you guys on the weekly. You see this wick down? Like I feel like this wick down in May, a few months early, every cycle is quicker. So far I think. But there, you consolidate, you come back up a bit. Maybe you stay sideways, boring at 70K. We've been exciting lately. You're maybe due to get boring, and then you drop down again. In a month or two, right there. But why is that relevant? The thing that I bought, and this isn't any type of advice, but MicroStrategy, I do think could be. MicroStrategy bottomed early. Like look where it bottomed against Bitcoin. That was that same wick down in early May. It bottomed before everything else. Now, does it have to happen again this time? I have no idea. It could. I think it's a good gamble. I think generally the consensus people are saying of getting like, Bitcoin 80 cents on the dollar. I think that's generally true with this. But if Saylor is just too degenerate and goes belly up, I don't think that's likely unless Bitcoin freaking really screws us. We'd have to really get, I would say under 30K, under 40K, probably, those areas. But if you think we're going to make a new all-time high by the end of this decade, this thing could potentially go 10x MicroStrategy. Let's be real. That's what looks attractive. The one crypto-related thing right now that looks attractive in MicroStrategy, and we'll talk about BMMR in just a second. That's obviously much riskier, but there could be potential. Who knows? I just wanted to show you there's the chart here. See this wick down, pretty, and this was 52 bars right here on your 6 day or whatever. It's 315 days or something. Moral of the story, if it's like this, your bottom is either here or within a few weeks for this. So if it does play out that way, maybe it's completely different this time. I have no clue. I mean, you did get a double bottom there. I would argue without FTX in the craziness of last cycle that, you should actually hit a bottom with this relatively soon. That's my guess. I think it's pretty low risk, high reward with this. But then again, I guess if he does go bankrupt, belly up, this goes to zero. But you never know. BMMR, that's the Ethereum version of this. Sequel is always worse than the original. So the first thing I want to show you here is what is it down so far? It's down about 90%. What did MicroStrategy go down? How much did MicroStrategy go down in the last bear market? Let's take a look. I think, I mean, you guessed it, guys. You guessed it. Let's see what it was. I mean, yeah, 89%. So if it plays out like this, and it may not, I really don't know. I'm telling you, I really don't know. This thing, I mean, down 6 billion. I mean, I really don't know. Then this could potentially come up. Now you're talking about if it does what MicroStrategy did last bull run, a 30x. Now, what could you do? I mean, you could have a tight stop loss. I mean, a very low risk, high reward if you were just to put a small amount in. I mean, if you can get a 30x or 20, let's say a 20x, you know, I mean, 50K turns into $1 million. That's a lot of that's a lot of money to put into BMMR, believe me. But 5K turns into 100K. So there you go. I mean, there's those potentials. I think there's potential. It's bled this much against Bitcoin. I mean, you're still at that area right there. This is what's interesting because it bled against Bitcoin there. I performed it a little bit. So is that the bottom? I don't know. Tough to say. I want to look at it against its ETH pair because if you can't even outperform your own pair, yeah, it could be a potential bottom. This is much riskier. I would say MicroStrategy ETH, or excuse me, MicroStrategy BMMR, like it should be like 90% MicroStrategy, 10% BMMR, if that's your, you know, kind of cup of tea here. So yeah, analysis, we'll talk about NASDAQ and the S&P 500. But yeah, guys, if you're interested in Discord, it's the first link down below. We lowered the price to $35 a month. We're doing a bear market sale, so check it out. It is really good. We do a lot of live chats with you guys in there. So check that out. I always appreciate you guys. And it's the last day if you guys want to trade over on BloFin, space trading competition. It's the last day, 8 hours to do that. Sign up. And then 20% of your fees for life with both of these exchanges. BYDFI as well. It's a good deposit bonus going on about another 5-6 days. Hopefully they'll extend this farther. Check it out if you guys are interested in trading. A lot of opportunities, I think, So, I mean, yeah, weekly came into the red. I mean, dropped down. I mean, I would argue there's a potential that we did bottom, I guess. We don't want to completely rule it out. But, I think if history is any, kind of indication, you're going to, sometime between May and October, probably go back down to like 50K. But I think in the grand scheme of things, if you got in at like low 60s, I think that you could get up to, I mean, my guess would be 180K by the end of this decade, 150K at least, something like that. So, I think there's definitely potential there. That's what I will say on that. Let's see, that was the BMMR ETH. XLE is still going up against the SPY. What's interesting on that is I would assume that, like, if anything is going to be able to outperform energy over the next like 4 to 6 months, it's probably something very volatile like MicroStrategy. That situation. I don't even think Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin's bottomed, it would be tough for it to even do that. I think energy's got a lot in it. Excuse me. Solana coming up there. I mean, yeah, this is kind of cool how it's, if you hold 80, I would remain somewhat bullish on this. So some of these alts may not do as bad as some may think. They're risky business, obviously, but some of them may not do as bad as you think. I mean, for all I know, that could be bottomed. I mean, XRP, let's just look at this I mean, it's been a popular one, given the high market cap and all that, but let's look at this on the weekly, like perfect bounce from 200 weekly moving average. Maybe that's I mean, the thing too is if you want this to survive, if you think it will, I mean, it's 70%. It doesn't have to come down much more than that. You know what I mean? I would say that's the area there. Now we can look at the S&P 500 here. And we can look here and we could, I mean, potential drops down, all that type of stuff. I think you will continue downward. These areas here, money flow coming down. Yeah, I think you will probably continue downward. It may take a little bit of time. I think this will hold up better than the NASDAQ, but I think post Super Bowl or post like February, let's say, AI Super Bowl, that bubble will continue to pop, bringing the NASDAQ down. I mean, that's become kind of a big part of the NASDAQ these days. I mean, you're already down to, I mean, that was a pretty violent, well, not violent, but it was, pretty pretty bad drop to like, you know, 650, you know, those type of areas. Right there, this peaks. I would guess peaks, you know, low fives, some situation like that is what I would kind of guess. Let's see here, 15% down. I mean, that's kind of my guess. Maybe S&P 500, 8 to 10%, you know, something like that, and then we'll reevaluate. But it should come down, you know. I would say milder version than 2022, as I've talked about a lot. But yeah, 150K by 2030, probably. I would hope so. I always appreciate you guys smashing the like button, sharing the video, getting more viewers. You know, I want to bring this up to at least 100 people. That's kind of the goal. And all that. In terms of the trade, you know, kind of just waiting for that to play out. We'll see what happens with ETH. I would guess the weekend's going to be rather, you know, I mean, TradFi is open today, obviously Friday. I would guess the weekend would be kind of choppier here. So yeah. Pull off top rally into the end of this decade, maybe. I think this has topped. I think that the NASDAQ may not make new all-time high until next year, or yeah, probably until next year. I mean, maybe Q4, we'll see. But if you were to do something of this nature, you know, which is, you know, your typical kind of some of your typical corrections, you know, let's say here, say it's April, May, and then, I mean, that's August, or I mean, it would probably take, usually goes up at close. I mean, that's Q4 right there. You know, that could be extended into 27. So yeah, that would be my, you know, my kind of take there. If we think about, if we look at, what's up, Jay Sherlock? Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, others versus bit. That's the thing too, for in terms of monetary policy. I do think this probably will continue to rise. You just got to pick the right alt. You know what I mean? You just got to pick the right alt. And some of them could. I mean, that's the thing too. Like some of them, it's possible. Like I would be more inclined for like Solana and XRP. Things like Chainlink are a little bit already back to those levels. Like I don't know if I'd mess with this. You know, I mean, other ones, Avalanche has just not been where we wanted it to kind of be. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of dead. You know, it made a lower low. Who knows what'll happen? I'd be curious about some of the oldies. Just keeps going lower. Dollar, Polygon we could look at. I mean, yeah, that's dropping down to, you know, that kind of area. So there, I mean, we've got a meme coin, ape coin. That's kind of went to zero, in my opinion. I mean, 10 cents. I mean, people have bought it up a tiny bit. So yeah, but that doesn't really mean much. Yeah, I would say we're kind of cleansing the market. I think a lot of stuff kind of has gone to zero. I think a lot of stuff above it's like 200 weekly moving average. I think Solana even maybe, or it's XRP definitely has some potential. You know, I think there's that. Cardano does seem a little bit wonky. I mean, making lower lows, I don't know. I would assume for most things, if you can hold this like 24 cents, that would generally be bullish, but we'll see. I do think, you know, the MicroStrategy play is the best, like kind of riskier than Bitcoin play right now, or riskier than ETH as well play right now. If we look at Ethereum, you know, here's your case. You know, what was the attractive number that, you know, I've talked about, around 1,800 to 2,000, and you're right there. So I think in the grand scheme of things, you're pretty good. What I would say on ETH is it's kind of still bleeding against Bitcoin. I would want to see a little bit more strength here. I guess it's kind of hitting off of that evaluation, but we'll see. If we look at ETH versus something like MicroStrategy, it's been coming up, but the thing is, like, this is a weird chart, because if you look at the inverse of this, yeah, you could argue that's just a little correction. It's hard to say, man, but it doesn't look the most bullish right here. You know, and if you look at kind of the previous bear market, that situation came down. If you look at 2019, ooh, right there it came down to. So I don't know. I could see us dropping back down to this area against MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy has just been so suppressed. The metals rally. I do think metals will be boring, you know, to more sideways. They'll probably bleed against the S&P 500 for the next few months, in my estimation. If you look at like SPY versus gold, I would guess this would start to, or continue to kind of jump here, but I don't know. It's definitely not the most bullish chart. You're still below kind of your pandemic low, so let's keep that in mind. I would guess this would come up though. I would guess metals would, like gold and silver, would underperform the S&P, or would come up against S&P 500 for next few months. So we shall see. Kind of tough to say there. Yeah, metals are interesting. Metals are interesting. So yeah, I think XLE, you know, that keeps kind of plowing new all-time highs. So, you know, let the winners ride. I think that's a good thing that'll probably continue to outperform Bitcoin for some months to come. So there's that. That's a thing to look to, you know, move back into Bitcoin when the time is right, in my opinion. So yeah. And if we look at like XLE versus Bitcoin, for example, I mean, yeah, that jump up that area. I mean, it was 500% in, you know, 2022. So you probably got what, 100% so far. These are, yeah, 300% or something. You know, these kind of areas right there. So yeah, a bit more, I would say. It was interesting because it was the 6th day here that it hit. Didn't even get close to that previous time. So maybe a little bit above that, you know, a few more months or something. You know, assuming this keeps going up and Bitcoin's kind of stays stagnant, makes a lower low, this would definitely continue to outperform. The same would be said, you know, about the NASDAQ, S&P 500, probably gold as well. But I think this will outperform gold in the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So yeah, I am pretty bullish on energy, if you haven't noticed. So yeah, we can look at, let's see, you know, what's going on. I mean, fear and greed is really low. I don't know if this is updated. I would assume it's kind of, yeah, it will be less fear as Bitcoin, you know, if Bitcoin can hold 70, I guess, or something, you know, or hold 60 even. I don't know if that's a sell signal, you know. Big news about it, I'll tell you that much. Big news about it. Uranium's, I'm bullish on that too. I do think that XLE, you know, let's look at URA coming down a little bit. I do think it's got a good shot of continuing forward to like old all-time highs or whatever. You know, maybe $100, but you never know. If it's like altcoins, nope. If you look at this versus XLE, I think that's, yeah, it's generally outperformed it. Yeah, I would think you could come up a little bit more. So we'll absolutely have to see. You know, I think that the other one too, petroleum, like the one that Berkshire has, I think this one will come up to a bit. And probably outperform the SPY or whatever, you know, I would be more bullish there. So yeah, I do think that Berkshire is going to continue to outperform the SPY, especially if the SPY continues downward, which I think it will. You know, there's a lot of exposure to the things that'll probably shine this year with this, with Berkshire. Just as some things that'll probably do well. You know, kind of just waiting. I think we're going to get a little bit boring for these markets. You know, we had so much excitement like the past 2-3 days. So I think we're due for like a little bit of, you know, get boring, you know, that type of situation. So yeah, I mean, that's what it is there. Trying to think what else, but I mean, this is somewhat attractive. I definitely want to wait a little bit on ETH, but yeah, I mean, the thing too is if you believe in ETH, you know, it should be able to hold this 1800, but you know, people talk about, you know, these areas down here. People talk about triple digits. I don't know. You know, it's tough to say. I mean, just keep in mind everything kind of usually bottoms earlier each time. But then again, everything bottomed, you know, well, yeah, earlier than, you know, earlier each time. So yeah, yeah, appreciate you guys. If you guys want more calls, you know, no promises all of them are going to be right. But check out the Discord down below. We do a lot of live calls. It can be trades, you know, entry points. Stop losses, take profits. You know, I was talking about in the videos, you know, things were looking as bad as possible. Now they're not looking as bad as possible, but they're still kind of bearish on the macro. You know, I mean, the 2-week going into the red, and you're going to get there. You'll probably see that unless we get a V-shaped recovery. Some people are talking about that. We'll see. But I don't think that'll happen, for the record. But, you know, summer looks good. You know, I think there's a lot of potential there. I mean, let's just look at, you know, obviously from this low, you know, your 18 low. I mean, this was 20x. I mean, this previous one was, what was this, 800%? That was 700%. People are saying, what was saying 800? Curious about. get it right, you know, get it right. Yeah, 700%. I mean, what would we hope for from, let's say from 60K, I mean, yeah, I mean, 180 would be, I could see a 200% from there, 3x, 180x absolutely could be there. I'm curious what 300% would bring it to. That'd be, I can't even see my damn 255 or something, yeah, 240. So I would guess by end of decade 180. I don't know if you're gonna quite make it to that 200. I'm still bullish on Oxy, yeah. I'm bullish on that for this year. At least another 6 months or something, 6, 7 months, 6, 7. That type of situation. So yeah. Let's see here. So MicroStrategy was that. I mean, Palantir, it's probably recovered a tiny bit today or something. I think this is headed down, continuously down. So yeah. Money flow flying on the two. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like on ETH as well. Like that was. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, because you came down so fast here, you didn't quite get there. But it was both like pretty good places. I would argue this could be the first time where it kind of marks a bottom. Maybe when you see the red on ETH, maybe you'll see in June or May the red here on Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean that's kind of that view there. That's definitely that view. If we look at, I'm trying to think like what else, what other like trade, if I could give you like any trade setups right now. It was mainly the East Short is like the main kind of trade setup I like at the moment. I wouldn't say that's the strongest trade, especially coming into a weekend. I feel like they'll just find a way to, screw both sides here probably a good amount of sideways volatility or whatever, typical weekend stuff, but we'll see. I could see us going back to 17 over the week, maybe Sunday or something. And then Monday you continue forward. I would kind of hope for that, maybe for some low prices Monday morning for some longs, but we'll see what ends up happening. It's kind of, it's hard to say, obviously. So there's that, So yeah. Let's see, you can look at Cardano. Yeah, I mean, I think on Cardano, this is a big place. I mean, I guess it's possible if you believe in Cardano, it could kind of bottom here. We'll see. Curious about this on versus Bitcoin. I wouldn't buy it here, but decent area. So we'll see. It doesn't. This looks like a weird chart, though. It does look concerning. I wouldn't buy it here, but we'll see. I mean, I think the safest thing is obviously Bitcoin and ETH for buying dips right now. Really, the thing that looks the most attractive, as I mentioned, is MicroStrategy. Just primarily like 100% because it bottomed before Bitcoin and ETH last cycle. And you're about that same amount of days, so it's going to follow somewhat of the Bitcoin cycle if you believe in that at all. So that could be a decent thing there. People have talked about HBAR. Yeah, I'm not like I haven't looked at it. Yeah, I could see why it could be attractive right now because you're hitting a big point. I mean, this is a big area to hold. It looks weird in some of these large time frames, but yeah, I mean, if you like to gamble, it looks pretty good in the daily here. Maybe it'll jump up to 13 cents or whatever, We looked at, well, yeah, let's look at gold and silver. I would argue silver is just going to be boring for a while. Probably around 70s for a while. Maybe you come down to 50, but I would argue it's going to be kind of boring. This thing is weird, but I would argue people will get bored with gold and silver as they generally always have. So yeah, silver versus Bitcoin. I think this is we probably had enough pain for, like, I'd rather buy Bitcoin than silver right now. I'll say that. So I mean, silver is not attractive to me right now. Gold, on the other hand, is probably going to somewhat do what silver does. I think it's going to be kind of sideways bearish. I could see like 32, but I don't think you're gonna come down that much, probably like 41 or something. You know, we'll see. It's hard to say with these. I think they'll get more boring though. I would say gold or Bitcoin versus, let's say gold versus Bitcoin, because, you know, if you have gold right now, should you, you know, I mean, what if it was 320 that time, 200. So, I mean, according to this, it might have freaking topped against Bitcoin, according to this. And unless things are really different though, because here was the top, I mean, obviously November 22, this was December 18. This was earlier that time. This would be a lot earlier this time. Maybe choppy, you know. We'll see what happens. For the hell of it, let's look at MicroStrategy versus gold. I don't, you know. I mean, what are you going to convert your gold to? It could be MicroStrategy right now. It generally does outperform, you know, gold. And if you look at here, you know, through this area, I'm just curious when that May 2022 low for MicroStrategy, yeah, 90% down. You would probably want to have, wow, like clockwork, 88% down. So I would say, I would arguably say, you know, unless things are incredibly changing significantly here, that MicroStrategy could have bottomed against gold. Unless the structures of these markets are changing, you know, excrementally here, MicroStrategy could have bottomed against gold. It does look attractive. More attractive than a lot of things right now. Just be careful though, you know, definitely be careful as always, but there's potential here. Like if I'm going to gamble on something right now, it's MicroStrategy. Maybe a tiny bit of BMMR if we're talking gambling, a tiny bit, but not a lot. The M monthly 200, that's an interesting place. You went below it here. I don't know, you know. Adam and Dot, we looked, I don't even, those are just depressing, man, but look at Adam. I looked at Dot. I don't have much hope for them, unfortunately. They don't look attractive at the moment. We'll see what happens, but they don't look very attractive at the moment. You know, right? They're down to this point, making lower lows. I don't know. I mean, this is at 2020. This is like pandemic lows. I mean, I don't. Not too good in my opinion. I think you would have wanted to do a lot better in pandemic lows. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I was mentioning in the for the S&P 500, yeah, 10% is absolutely possible. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Probably a little less, if anything, but 10% is possible. Jupiter, I think I know who's asking this, but somebody was asking me about this. It could have been coincidental. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, it doesn't look very good. I'll tell you that much. It doesn't look like an attractive buy. I'll say that much. What else was I going to say here? So that was Jupiter. Just trying to think here. Oops. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Definitely gotta see what happens. H bar, silver, ApeCoin, Triple Q's, NVIDIA, I think is going to head down, probably at least 150, I would say. AI is going to pop a bit, I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Trading platform. So right now I'm in BidFi for this. BidFi and BloFin are the best two right now, in my opinion, to use, especially for non-KYC. If you want to check it out, we got 6 more or 8 more hours for the BloFin trading competition. Not many people in it, obviously. We had 1 mil trading volume, so somebody got something, I think. So check it out if you're interested. And then the BidFi's got a good deposit bonus, 20 grand, 2 grand, about 5 grand, 5K, you know, these type of situations. So check it out if you're interested. 20% free fees for life on both of these. You know, obviously, for people who know how to trade, obviously, you know, I got the trading course, the Discord, all that. You know, some good resources there. Discord's $35 a month now. We've lowered that for the bear market. So yeah, I mean, I would guess ETH will bounce around here a little bit over the weekend, maybe come up more after. If it's like, you know, let's just look at that May. Let's go back in time a little bit here on their daily. Let's look at the May of 2022 situation. So obviously here you had the crypto Super Bowl, and that was kind of sell the news. You dilly-dallied, and then you went down farther. Now, this is what's interesting here. So let's say this is really interesting. This is actually an important thing to look at. So This is kind of 60K, I would argue. 60K is 25K. So good place to buy in the long scheme of things, but there's definitely potential to go lower. Right there. Now let's kind of map this out. I would argue less volatility over time, obviously for Bitcoin. But let's kind of map this out. If we were to do the same situation, how high would we go? Where would this bring us to? Right around 76. 76, which is a nice spider line. When would that be? Right there. Or 73, 76, you know, get around the spider line. So yeah, I kind of don't think we're going to go up to 84. 74, I think, is pretty likely. You know, we're already at 70. We'll probably bounce around, you know, some more. I want to look at that again, how that behavior was back there. It obviously was a pretty big jump up. Yeah. So if it's like this, I forget how to, isn't there a way to like, I forget what that is. Oh, that's the thing I had on. I don't know what that does. I forget, but we'll just do it like this. And we'll move this over. I mean, I would predict with confidence it's not gonna go this exact way, but you know, it may mirror some things. You know, it may rhyme with it a little bit. So let's see here. Let me just give me a second. So right here, and then ooh. Wow, okay. That's interesting. That would be 74K. Yeah, it could be less, 73. So, you might come up a little bit earlier next week, then come down, bounce around. And I think this is kind of where we are in terms of, like, you'll probably come back to like 65, 66, maybe come up 60, 73, then you'll maybe roll over. I mean, this would be early March, so that's potential, you know. You could sit in a short for a month, you'd probably do well. You'd have a good, like, I'm just thinking too, like if you were to enter a short, and funding fees will be on your side too. Look at the funding fees, guys. They'll be on your side. I almost promise you that. I mean, it could be different. We may not, I mean, for all I know, you know, we could have already bottomed, but I'm thinking that if you do this situation, and this also, even if this happens, MicroStrategy still could have been bottomed. So that's a good risk-reward ratio. You'd have to wait a while though, you know, and you'd have a good shot of, you know, I don't know if that's 48K. That's a huge point. Like if you were to hit that in March or April, like that's probably your bottom. You know what I mean? Assuming some black swan or something unexpected doesn't happen, you know, between there and October or something, that's probably your bottom. I mean, even if it's not, like 50K is a good place, man. Like that's a potential 4x into the end of this decade. I mean, maybe even more, who knows? So there's that potential. That's a very, you know, that area right there, I mean, that's pretty low risk, high reward. Like if you were to gamble, you know, or excuse me, if you were to risk like, I mean, it's a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. You would get a 4x of whatever your, yeah, I think that's, I should know this. I probably seem stupid not knowing. Yeah, it's got to be a 4x, but yeah, I mean, let's see. So yeah, I mean, if you were to gamble, I don't know, $100, it's 400 to gamble, you know, risk 1,000, you know, 1,000, that's 4,000, 10,000, you know, so on and so forth. It's a good, you know, you need risk management, all that, but it's a good situation there potentially. So yeah, there and then drop, yeah. That's what I would guess, something like that. If it mirrors 2022, maybe a little less volatility, maybe not as, you know, not as far downward, but it would really, the bright side of this is if you're buying MicroStrategy, it's still a good, like a pretty good, yeah, it's still, you know what I mean? It's still like a pretty good opportunity there. So yeah. So that's what I would think. Probably a little bit boring. You probably so according to that, you'd reject. Let's see what ETH did during this situation. Yeah, this is. Let's actually take a look at that. So if we're right here, yeah. Okay. Let's draw this out. So there, and then essentially, I'm not going to read like little peak and valley, but you know, there, and then you fell off a cliff to your bottom. Fortunately, luckily. Yeah, that was May, and then yeah, it was into June. So let's see. If you were to do this, come on. Here we go. Oh my God, did we already? Yeah, we already hit this, right? No, not quite. So we'll come up more if it's like that. If it's like that, we'll come up more, but less volatility over time, you could argue, so maybe we won't. This would be like later today, tomorrow, if you do hit that, and then you would generally go down in February, generally go down into March, and that would be your bottom, I think, right? Oh no, well, farther, but it's the same damn place too. Oh shoot, I didn't even realize that. That's the same area. Wow. This is not good for ETH, I feel like. Like bounced off the same damn area. Wow. Something's going to be different for ETH, I feel like. It shouldn't be as bad or whatnot. But yeah. I don't know if ETH will break, but I don't know. It's hard to say, man. I mean, if ETH bottoms before Bitcoin, you could have already seen your bottom, but I feel like I'm sounding really overly bullish saying that. You know what I mean? So yeah. But appreciate you guys if you're new. If you guys want to check out the Discord, it's the first link down below. $35 a month for stop losses, entry points, take profits. We've been killing it lately. Got Nightshade in there, really good trader. A lot of good people in there. I'll do a voice chat when I have some energy. But yeah, I mean that's the main thing there. And I'm trying to think what else right now. Yeah, not too much. I mean, my guess maybe come up a little bit more over the weekend or something sideways. You know, I do think sometime February you will see it'll be probably choppy, and you'll probably see what's the point. You'll see this spider line like 74, probably by the end of February, end of this month. You got close, so I think it'll get boring, and then you'll probably break down farther after or something. That situation. So yeah, but grand scheme of things, I mean, 70K's, you know, not the worst area in the world. I mean, if you get to 180 by the end of the decade, you still probably outperform a lot of stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious how this would look on like Bitcoin versus or SPY versus. Let's look at SPY versus Bitcoin. Because I've obviously, you know, drawn these out. That's where I converted some over, but you know, 277. So far you've had, you know, this was one. Okay, so this is the area from the bottom, 29. You know, I would say that based on this, you would, let me move this, move these up a little bit. That one's interesting, something like that. It's a give or take. This one's a little farther. 31. They're all about 31. These are both about 31. I did it from this one's farther. This one took longer. That one was, yeah, February. Wow, February. Okay, interesting. From the bottom to the, it was 8. Yeah, that was, well, if we do it like this, yeah, that's 28. So that's interesting. Yeah. Here I would, yeah, I mean, it was early because of how crazy that area was, and SPY did well. And if you're looking at 28, 29, I mean, it's 27, yeah, July. Summer would be the place, I think, to convert a lot of like energy, S&P 500 over to Bitcoin, if I had to guess, yeah. Mini futures beginner. Are you talking about IBIT? What mini futures? I'm curious. IBIT or something? Are you talking about that? Like, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to get going. Been on about 45 minutes. Not too much else to really talk about at the moment. Yeah, guys, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are interested in trading. Got some good promos over for you guys. 20% free fees for life, as always, on BYDFI. Good deposit bonuses. Check it out. No KYC. Same thing here. So we got a #1 person in the... these are the #1 people for the prize. I forgot how much they get, but up to 3K or something. So... not too bad for the trading volume. Goes on for you know, 8 more hours. So check it out, I guess. I don't know if you really have time at this point, but yeah. And then BidFi as well.